Lindy Lee blows the mind of a host on a podcast as she exposes Kamala Harris for the absolute phony and fraud that she is. Guys, this can be a good one. For those of you who might not know Lindy Lee, she is a long-time big dog Democrat who actually has pretty much apparently left the party as of just after the presidential election. More on that in a bit. So this will be quite interesting. You get a perspective that we usually aren't going to get. So we're going to get right into it, folks. It's going to be a lot of fun. But first, do me a big favor here. Like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you all this great, hard-hitting content. As always, Patriots, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
What happened on Joe's podcast? He came out and said something about the Harris, Harris
came out this morning, or
interview.
The clip was released this morning. He basically exposed the Harris campaign as a liar, as though we didn't already know that. But so a book is coming out that states that it was Joe's fault that Kamala didn't go on his podcast. Joe basically came out and put the lie to that. The Harris campaign wanted to blame him for it not working out.
Why? Why do they want to?
Because they realized it was the biggest fuck up to not do the podcast. She should have been on your show. She should have been on Joe's podcast. She should have been everywhere instead of building $100,000 fake set for Call Her Daddy.
Yeah. We invited her. We were talking to her people, and it could only be an hour. Then we had to discuss the topics first, and it just got to the point where I was like, look, why don't you just give me the outline and I'll do that interview, because I don't care what you give me. I'll make it work. And then you know what I think it was? I think it was the Brett Baer interview, which honestly, to be honest with you, I didn't even think it was that bad. I mean, there's a couple parts, but I thought she handled it okay. And but after that, it was dead silence. We had Newsweek put something out. We had the Washington Post put something out, and it just turned into crickets. But
the Kamala Harris campaign also told Rogan that his interview could only be an hour, which is ridiculous because, as I'm sure many of you guys know, Rogan does interviews, podcasts that are well over 2 hours, often over 3. I think sometimes they've even gone over 4, if I'm not mistaken. They go long. And funnily enough, they told Rogan, you may not talk about marijuana legalization. We will not touch that topic. And we all know Joe Rogan. He loves his marijuana, all right? It's just true. So kind of hilarious to see. Also, make no mistake, her interview with Brett Baer was terrible, all right? And the Kamala Harris and her campaign, they knew it as soon as it happened. If you look at it, it was a disaster. She was bumbling. She looked like a fool. She couldn't answer any of the questions well. And not only that, but that was actually an edited version that arguably was probably in her favor. If you look at the full unedited version, I think Trump posted it back when it was going on. It's even worse, all right? So that is why she went to the basement Biden strategy. And, even though I don't like it in terms of political strategy, I can't blame them. It made sense.
I don't understand why it's so hard for her to answer simple questions. I don't understand why she has to do these endless word salads. Like, why is it so hard for you to be human? Just answer the question. You don't have to talk in endless circles. I just don't get it. And I know her. Like, when I talk to her, she's fine. But when she does these interviews, she becomes like a android. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like Shawn, you're talking to me like a real full-blooded person. Why can't she just be that? We don't want a rehearsed, we don't want a caricature as president. We want a human being that we can relate to.
Why do you think she can't? Do you think she's intimidated? Do you think?
There are several explanations. Some people say that she's just not that intelligent. It could be. Maybe she can't think on her feet. Maybe she relies on, talking points. But I had friends on her staff who tell me that she would get pissed at them for her own lack of preparation. Like, she would yell and she would get frustrated at them for her own inability to read the talking points and to internalize them. It's just, I don't know.
She definitely didn't seem quick on their feet, but I would still love to interview her. And I'm glad Joe, was able to set the record straight.
Yeah, and I'm here. I will give you as many names as you need in order to make the interview happen. Because I know her staff, and she will see requests. It's just a matter of her her willingness, you know,
Yeah.
because she's so afraid to fuck up.
Be careful and cautious of this Lindy Lee lady. Okay, guys, you know, I kind of see this trend of conservatives where as soon as a liberal says, oh, you know, the people on my side are nuts, which is exactly what Lindy Lee here has done. They'll say, oh, bring him in, embrace him as one of our own. Big Tent GOP. We love these former liberals, former liberals, whatever you want to call them. Watch out for that, okay? These people are wolves and snakes in sheep's clothing, all right? Let's not forget, Bill Maher still votes Democrat, and he did so in 2024 for all the talk about, oh, Bill Maher's getting so based. The left is waking up. Don't trust these people, okay? And if you look at Lindy Lee's Wikipedia page, it says that, you know, she is now a conservative. Are you kidding me? She literally voted for and supported the Kamala Harris campaign. That was about 2 seconds ago. All right, she's a conservative now. Give me a break. And then according to Wikipedia, she also said, I've always been a conservative my whole life. Right. Yeah, you've always been a conservative who's worked in Democrat politics and advocated for left-wing politics your whole life, and at a very high level too. It's not like she was just some voter. Are people falling for this? Really?
Yeah. What's she doing now?
She's deciding whether to run for governor in 2026 or try again for 2028. And I had someone, I kid you not, call me at 3:30 a.m. this morning.
Run for governor in California?
Yeah. Oh, she didn't call me, but I have a mega donor. She's a co-founder of two-factor authorization. She called me at 3:30 a.m. this morning saying the Democratic Party is in shambles. Yes, we already knew that, but coming from the horse's mouth, it was very important. And she was saying how nobody, there's not a single person of importance in the Democratic Party thinks that Kamala Harris should run again. But Kamala Harris is in her cloud of delusion. She still might run again in 2028 for president. So right now, the choice is whether to run for California governor in 2026 or president in 2028. And let me tell you something that the press doesn't know about. In order to run for governor in 2026, she would have to betray one of her closest friends because the current lieutenant governor is a woman named Eleni. She's a long Greek last name. Please don't make me say it. But she's the current lieutenant governor of California under Gavin Newsom. She is running for governor now. She's the current front runner. She's very close with Kamala. In fact, her cousin, Kristen Bertolina Faust, was Kamala Harris's finance chair.
It's a big club and you're not in it. Honestly, it would not surprise me at all if Kamala ended up stabbing this friend of hers in the back. But would she even win? All right, that's another question because, you know, I'm sure she's blaming, you know, Russian disinformation and, you know, whatever other stuff, you know, sexism and racism, just like Hillary did. Unprecedented, devastating loss in 2024. But look at her past electoral history. She really hasn't done that well, all right? She was the senator of California and couldn't even get 1% polling in her own state back in 2020 when Biden bested her. All right, so she is not at all a popular candidate. She is viscerally unlikable, just a very unpleasant lady. And, you know, it reflects that. Even the Democrat voters don't like her.
So for Kamala Harris to run for governor, she would have to stab her friend in the back. And I know this is important because it's a question of integrity versus ambition. Is she going to put her friend first or she's going to put her ambition first? And if I were to, I know Kamala, and I would say that she would probably put her ambition first.
Obviously.
Friendship is collateral damage for her.
Man, well, she'd probably be a shoo-in out in California.
I don't know. I think, honestly, after the fires, I think the fires were a game changer and showed even Democrats that the entire party is just a party of fire. Like, even liberals understand that now.
It's nothing to do with the fires. It's everything to do with Kamala Harris is a very unpopular candidate. Remember, she only became a senator because she was appointed to that position. She didn't even win an election. And then 2020, yeah, we already went over that.
There's been a complete mood shift across Hollywood. And I have donors across Hollywood, across finance. They are fed up.
Wow.
Yeah, they're fed up. I've heard that one before. Bill Maher was fed up and he still voted for Democrats anyways. You know, same with Jon Stewart. Probably same with Lindy Lee even, you know, so time will tell, but we've seen this thing play out before. I wouldn't be surprised if it is pretty much the same thing once again. With all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video and if you like any of what I said, hit that subscribe button down below. Comment your thoughts. Do you think the Democrats are waking up? I want to hear what you have to say. We'll see you again soon. God bless.